YouTube, what is going on? Well, sorry about that. Time out. Give me a second. I cannot find the hat. Lord knows what happened to my hat, but I can't find it. The most unprepared content creator on earth, for sure. Oh my lordy. No. Okay, hat found. Oh my god. How do we do a Gecko Gaming stream without the hat? I don't know, but YouTube, what is going on? Apologies for the craziness. Oh, that's not on. Bam, that looks much better now. What's going on, YouTube? Oh my lordy, this morning was not it. It was definitely not it. We're about a minute away from today's cast. We are going to be looking at a match that I feel like is going to be either extremely one-sided or an insanely good match. Of course, it's only two options, right? But I truly want to cast this match to see more the status of our friends in r0se. EvE is a team that I know a little bit about. I have watched them play, and I know what they're about. Last time around, we watched r0se, and it was a little bit of a weird r0se, right? I've known them to be different than that. A lot of you peeps told me yesterday on stream day had an off day. It happens. They played against a hugely, massively good team. And so we can't pass judgment on them yet. But I didn't want to pass up the opportunity to once more see them in action. The other matches happening right now are a bit one-sided. The other match that I'm keeping my eye on is MCO and 495, who we will keep our eyes on. But other than that, I think that we're going to stick with the r0se match today. A lot of these matches are a bit one-sided in my opinion. I think that this bracket of death is definitely it. I definitely want to keep an eye on this. Unfortunately, the live scoreboard is not on today. Well, it's not on today because I tried to automate it and it worked out fairly badly and it kind of destroyed everything I already had done. But we do have the tips for success popping up. Not yet tips for success. Wait for the match to start. But with that being said, the match should be starting. Which team do you think is going to take this? Leave me a comment right now in the chat. Hashtag r0se or hashtag EvE in this match. Now, very quickly, I am going to be very rude to you for one moment and hide the screen for very brief moment. I want to turn on the awesome Epic Pen. Epic Pen is an app that allows us to draw on the screen, and I just don't want it to bug you. So here we go. You should be able to see the screen now. My apologies. And Epic Pen is on. Welcome to Osiris League. This is EvE versus r0se, and this is Ark of Osiris. Ark of Osiris is a game mode in Rise of Kingdoms where 30 versus 30 teleport onto the field of the Osiris. The way the field works is you have a map that is a mirrored map. Mirrored map meaning this line determines the half point of the map, and for the sake of argument, this is blue side and on the bottom is red side. Now, throughout the cast, you guys are going to be seeing EvE, a lot of EVEs, some r0ses in the chat. Very good. Let's see more of y'all letting me know what you think about this match. But the way this game works is very simple. All you have to do is to get more points than the other team. That's it. Not that simple. The way the map works, the game works, is quite weird. You have three ways to gain points. Number one, you occupy any of these buildings. Number two, you take over the Ark of Osiris, which pops in the Osiris temple in the middle, and we will go over detail as to what that means in a little bit. The third option is to gather points on the field, and that is doable through provisioning, which we will talk about through the match as well. I want to give you a little bit of context as to the terminology you'll be hearing me saying throughout the match. First and foremost, anytime we talk about the side, a team that took the other team's building, what it means is that essentially anytime the red team take any of the buildings on this side of the map or anytime the blue team take any of the buildings on this side of the map, and it doesn't matter if it's up or down, right? The point is the sides. It essentially means that the team took the other team's buildings. If you take a look, each side has the same exact buildings, except that in a mirrored manner, okay? So throughout the match, you'll be hearing me using that terminology, taking the other team's building. Now in 9 seconds, the gates of hell are gonna open up, and all of these beautiful players are gonna pour out into the field. And as you can see, the animation of the gates go down, and there go the marches. In the first couple of minutes of the match, to be exact, up until the 52nd minute, all that you'll be able to see is them occupying the initial buildings in this match, which are as followed: the obelisks and the outposts. The obelisks are the initial most important buildings in the game. The reason for that is, as of this point, you can see all the players of either side on this initial starting zone. All these beautiful players right here for r0se, and all these amazing players for EvE. When they take over the obelisk, they will be able to teleport their city into the obelisk territory, which is marked in green right there, and that will allow them to save over 1.5 minutes worth of marching in and out of their city. So the first most important buildings are the obelisks. Curiously enough, both teams launching boatloads of rallies, but the folks of EvE are launching rallies on every single red building, and it looks like the red team is also launching on 3 obelisks and 2 outposts. Both teams have kind of the same idea. They want to get out there as quickly as possible, using rallies as much as they can. Now, as of right now, the team in blue has a slight advantage, as they have taken over 2 buildings against the one in red, but fear not, all that this is first occupations. For a team to start gaining points, they need to hold a building for 3 long minutes, and once they do, that building starts ticking for points. Every single minute that goes by, certain buildings will give certain amounts of points. The outposts being 30 points per minute, the obelisks being 20 points per minute, and the more important buildings coming up in the 52nd minute, which we will talk about right now. In the 52nd minute, both altars, Sky and Desert Altar, are available for occupation. These are the most important buildings in the game. The reason for that is they are 150 points per minute each, or a total of 600 points total per minute. And on the map, there is a total of 1,180 points, meaning 4 buildings give more than half of the whole map worth of points. Also, the first occupation of these buildings, the team that first occupies these buildings, is going to score a sweet 750 points per building. So it's very, very important for each team to start with their buildings secured for 3 minutes, so they can take their first occupation and go about it. At this stage, the blue team is missing the forward outpost, while the red team has picked up all of their initial buildings. Rallies are starting to march out and even getting canceled out. The reason this is happening is because a lot of teams have been utilizing rallies as a way to move troops forward. When you move a troop individually, you can get caught in the middle of the way, or you can get potentially swarmed, or you can get caught off guard. By moving marches as a full unit, as a rally, you're essentially making sure that a big amount of troops are moving together, which is harder to swarm down. On top of that, the issue here is that for this to work properly, teams need to be very, very well coordinated, as the rally leader needs to let their folks know rally's about to cancel in 3, 2, 1, and then the cancel happens. And there goes delayed graphics. Lilith, please fix that. Please let me turn off simplified graphics. Please, Lilith, please, please, I beg of you. But anyway, as the rallies go down, some of our folks that we know a little more, shout out to our viewer, Tsuki. He's a very, very active viewer in our channel, so good luck to him on his match. And it looks like the blue team is just flying forward towards the red desert altar early on. r0se is coming in hot as well. They are ready for this. First occupation of these buildings is going to be a huge fight. It looks like r0se are also pushing forward towards the blue desert altar in a massive way, and it doesn't seem like blue have that same defensive presence in here, but I speak too soon. Those marches are on their way, and they will most likely get here, as there's still 55 seconds worth of march awaiting for them in here. As the red team continues to move forward with a rally towards the outpost, towards the obelisks. Obelisks are a very important building in the first 30 minutes of the match. Once you occupy the obelisk, 5 teleports will be available to you, and every 5 minutes, an extra teleport is unlocked. The rally that we watched got canceled, by the way, and now it is ready to fight in the Desert Altar. But the reason the obelisks are so crucial is because in the first 30 minutes, you're really going to need your obelisks to be there to get all 30 teleports available so all your teammates can get out of the initial zone and into the field. Once the 30th minute ended, so long as you've had the obelisks from the beginning till the end, they're pretty much useless. They give 20 points per minute and it's not as significant. The Desert Altars have opened up. Let's see who picks up what. Blue team picks up a red Desert Altar, and now it is very, very, very important for them to take over with the right marches and get in here and hold for dear life. Usually what we tend to see is an Attila Takeda holding the building and a lot of reinforcements coming in. The blue team have not been reinforcing this building at all. Red team started swarming it instantly. Blue team have to hold on to this, put marches in, do something. First occupation is not enough. You have to be able to hold on to the building. They are now putting troops in, but the swarm has already done massive damage. Blue team, at this stage, cannot care for the swarm. They have to put troops in here. And the problem is, this was such a scramble that I saw archers and infantry, cavalry and infantry come in here. And even now that they changed the captains to an infantry captain, there is a mix of troops in there, and unless they manage to somehow coordinate extremely well, it doesn't look like the blue team will be able to hold onto the Desert Altar, the red Desert Altar, for long enough. They are, however, still holding on to it, and they have stolen 1 full minute away from the red team. 1 full minute means 150 points that the red team is not going to gain anymore. On top of that, the red team now taking the blue Desert Altar. Wow, what a turn of events as they go for the aggression on the bottom side. The top side cannot defend their own buildings. And now the trade happens. That 1 minute they won by taking away the red Desert Altar is about to get canceled out as their own building has been taken down. Now the red team also take their own Desert Altar back. Oh my goodness gracious, we're in for a crazy match. Let your alliance mates know, let your friends know, go post on your discords, tell them come watch this match because there is not going to be a better match to watch. And we're going to do everything we can as a experienced Osiris League player to break down how some of these things happen beyond just the simple mechanics. There is a lot of psychology behind this game. There's a lot of things that you need to understand about coordination of players, which you just cannot see by spectating. You have to be part of a team and you have to feel that pressure. You have to understand that some of your teammates somewhere along the way might have made a mistake and that costs you a lot. With 30 players on the field, this is a huge blow. The problem here was that the folks in red had their focus split in two. They had their focus on getting their building back as well as on the aggression. By the fact that EvE lost that top Desert Altar, this one right here, tells me that they weren't focused enough on the defense, but they were a little bit too focused on the aggression right now. This can be because this was so chaotic, and they take the building back. Oh my lordy. This is what I'm talking about. It seems like EvE is so mentally focused here, and their comms in their Discord right now are so much more in here than most likely they did not pay attention that this was going down. Whoever was yelling we need reinforcements was not yelling loud enough. And as a result, these things happen. Trading Desert Altars back and forth is an amazing thing. Both teams are holding down each other. Red team right now with a slight, almost 300 point lead, and they do lead the points per minute by about 20 points. r0se with a archer rally are contesting the Sky Altar, the blue Sky Altar. A massive swarm in here and no defense nearby. This has been occupied for the first time. So EvE have secured their building for the first time and so their first occupations, but they're about to lose 150 points per minute. And r0se are starting to turn on the heat big time. Oh my lordy. So as we watch right here, it looks like this blue building is about to go down. I mean, I don't see any blue reinforcements in here. And boy, oh boy, EvE focused a bit too much on the Desert Altar and a bit too little on their defenses. While they have successfully managed to hold onto r0se's Desert Altar for a minute and a half now, they in the process lost both of their own Desert Altars, which could come back to bite them in the butt. Right now, they're waiting for the points per minute game to even up a little bit more once this building gets occupied. But man, oh man, r0se with a 240 points per minute lead are looking very, very, very strong and starting very well. Buildings blinking everywhere as the blue team sent an Attel Takeda without any field reinforcements whatsoever against the Sky Altar. Sky Altar is in a fairly good shape. Attel Takeda is in a fairly poor shape. At this stage, Magneto should be just letting this rally keep hitting and not care for it too much. Let that rally, milk that rally out. There it is. He knows what he's doing. Letting the rally milk out, take its time, taking out a building which it will no longer be able to take out. You just got to be careful because it looks like that they are doing a little bit of damage in here. Some reinforcements coming in. Very good stuff by r0se early on. This is exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't know how it works, if you haven't been on the field in a playoffs match, you don't understand how potentially these mistakes happen. The reason they happen is more likely than not a communication issue. The reason being, this was a very important target for EvE. It seems like EvE focused a lot on it, more than anything else. The communication in their Discord might have been more than likely more about this than anything else. And then as a result, when other buildings fell down, they all of a sudden found themselves between a hard place and a rock. The red team are already pushing forward towards this towards this archer rally. That's not the best idea. You do not want to solo hit the rally, no matter how strong or weak your marches are. You really want to let the rally hit the building and then start swarming it up, even though the likelihood of you being successful is very low. This right here is essentially taking a lot of damage unnecessarily, as there should be a Sky Altar that can take these hits instead of your solo marches. Now that the Sky Altar starts taking the Attel Takeda of pain, r0se can start swarming this rally, and if they manage to get it down fast enough, all these open field presences will not be enough for the team in blue, and red is leading by 120 points every single minute. They're looking great to start the match. 46 seconds until the Ark of Osiris spawns in the middle. Our first contest in the center is about to start, and r0se in red, and for the record, for the sake of my sanity, we're gonna call them, I'm gonna try to call them red and blue. So again, it's r0se and EvE. I don't want to confuse them. So the team in red is in a fairly good shape in the middle early on, but it looks like the blue team is on its way. They have 20 seconds to get here, and the Ark is about to pop. I don't see a red team Ark carrier yet, but here is a quick tip for you guys. If you are an Ark carrier, you want to make sure you pick up the Ark on your side, either here or here. The reason for that is if you drop the Ark on this side, for example, and then you got to march it around, it's an extra 30 seconds worth of march time. As you can see, the Ark carrier is picking it up correctly on the bottom side, on the side that he or she want to go forward with. And so that's a great pickup of an Ark. Red team grabbing the Ark and bailing out of here. They are ready to rock and roll. They're marching backwards, and the blue team now has to figure out their way. As we say all of this, every single blue building that was red went back to blue. Big problem for the red team. It looks like they focused a lot in the middle. Maybe perhaps their communications or their strategy dictated go more towards the middle, and they ended up bailing out on the other buildings. The problem with that is that is a good strategy as long as you have your opposition's buildings and your own as well. The problem here is that right now, the team in red doesn't own their own desert altar. By essentially losing the other desert, they're about to take it back, which is okay. It looks like they're on it. Everybody's okay. Everything is fine. Things are a little bit slow, but they're still working. My goodness gracious. These guys are going back and forth. I'm just trying to keep up with the pace and trying to understand their timings a little bit better, because at the end of the day, the match is not only what we see, the match is also about things that are going on. Can you see how the other matchups are doing? No, Johnson, what I did last time with the scoreboard here, I tried to automate it for you guys, and in the process I screwed it up, and I just didn't have time this week to fix it. So that's why the graphic is not there and all that. It's almost done. I guess I will not be automating it. I'll just have it as it was last time. Better than nothing. But in the next match, playoff match, we will definitely make sure you have all the scoreboards for both time zones, okay? So apologies for that. With all this going on, the Ark is marching on its way to the red building, and the Ark is dropped, but the Ark was dropped way into red territory. This is a problem for the team in blue. The team in blue have been able to take their own buildings back, but they have yet to secure any type of point per minute lead throughout the match. The red team is now 500 points ahead in this game, and they have a potential first arc that is 3,000 points total. Now, here is the problem. The problem is that the match is nowhere near over. Okay, nowhere near over. There are 42 long minutes remaining. Everything and anything can happen. In the middle now, we're seeing a lot of a diversity of marches that we have not seen before. From a lot of archers in the middle, that is something HKL last season started dictating the pace further of, to more Guans in the middle. I'm seeing a little bit of Williams in the area, and I saw Chandragupta in here too. The diversity of middle commanders is very, very interesting. It was never like this, and I think that the reason for that is because due to the new commanders and the changes in Rise of Kingdoms, the middle strategy is not, the middle meta is not fully developed just yet. People are sending different types of marches, trying different types of combinations in order to essentially try different metas that they're coming up with. It's very common to see Osiris arc carriers. There's a couple of them on the field waiting to pick up arcs. There is a backstab by Pute, who is doing massive damage to this Osiris, and there's nobody here to defend him, so this Osiris is probably going to go down. But the arc is so close to the Shrine of War, that is the red Shrine of War, that for the blue team to do anything with this arc is going to be such an uphill battle. It's crazy. It is crazy. Buildings blinking everywhere. We're going to go take a quick peek to make sure everything is okay. The red team are able to swarm our friend Branded, who is also one of our viewers, and I believe a member in the channel too. A very cool guy, rallying Attila Takeda, a Desert Altar. While he's being swarmed, the building is still going down fairly quickly. Pork Chop in here as well, a very well-known name in Rise of Kingdoms, is also swarming this building, and man, even though the rally was swarmed like crazy, the building keeps going down and down, and the team in red are really not able to stop this bleeding. They need more reinforcements in here. They need more people in the building. But as we say that, they take back the Sky Altar from the blue team, and they took it back about 40 seconds ago. This is a crazy handoff of buildings. I have never seen a match so intense. I don't think either team have held a building for more than 5 or 6 minutes until then the opposite team came in and picked it up. r0se coming in with some reinforcements around the building. That's good news, but nobody's going into the building, so that could be a little bit of a problem. A lot of open field presence in here by r0se, but nobody going in the building. Building in the very low reds, and if it goes down, it's going to be a problem. These open field marches are going to have to take it back, and that's 450 points potentially away from r0se's hands. They cannot allow this building to go down. The swarm around here is great, but the building must survive, or else that's 450 points less. A person goes into the building, thankfully for r0se. And by the looks of it, things are looking good on this building. They managed to stop the bleeding, and now they are ahead with 3 altars in their favor, including one that EvE is blue is nowhere nearby to take care of. The team in red have been doing a tremendous amount of work. They have been doing everything they need to do, and they've caught EvE off guard. This is not necessarily only r0se doing an amazing job, because for the record, r0se is reminding me of r0se of last season. r0se is exactly the r0se I imagined them being. Yesterday, I was questioning whether they were the same team as last season, and I can truly say this time around that I can see r0se as they are, and I can see that what happens when they made a mistake but managed to come back into it. They returned the mistake to the blue team, and so that's a really good job by them. I'm very, very impressed so far, and I'm actually a bit disappointed with the team in blue. The team in blue is making some very basic mistakes that are a matter of potentially coordination issues as well as a little bit of communication issues. I think that to an extent, when you have a team that is very well split, that everybody knows what they're doing, these kinds of things don't happen, because each building has its group of players that are in charge of making sure that building is secured. When you have a situation like this where buildings keep exchanging hands, it means that one of these sides doesn't have enough presence in one of these buildings. r0se the red team is super, super impressive as of right now, but with 37 minutes and only 1 arc really worth of a lead, about, we'll call it 3,700 points worth of a lead, the team in blue should not be in any shape or form worried right now. They're doing exactly what they need to do. The map is now evened out. Each side owns their own territory. And in a little bit, this building right here will go back in favor of the blue team and will be back to 590 as a total points per minute. And then from there on, EvE in blue are going to have to start now catching up in some shape or form. The team in red right now is just coming in and swarming the hell out of this desert altar. The reason they're doing that is they're looking to pull some distractions. We're seeing a herald on the field by Lucho, not the first herald we see tonight. But what they're doing is they're trying to distract the blue team away from what you see right up here. Do you see this? That is the Ark of Osiris timer, and it's coming in 5 minutes. 5 minutes is plenty of time to go wild on the field and still make it back in to fight in the middle. The problem is you don't want to wait too long. Once the 2-minute timer comes in, you really want to make sure you're starting to posture towards the middle. The problem here is that there's such a red presence in here that the blue team have shifted their presence to here too, and now potentially might be lacking in the middle. The red team will also most likely be lacking in the middle, as these guys might want to converge towards the center. The problem is a lot of these marches are starting to lose a lot of health, and if they don't get wrecked and go back home to refill their marches, there could be a very, very bad scenario right here. Now, unfortunately, even on my second device here, I am still on this account, so I cannot go take a look at what the other matches look like. But if we catch a break in this intensity, I'm going to go grab the the tablet real quick, the Galaxy tab, and go look at the other matches and let y'all know what the score is live as it goes down. Apologies for that. I indeed was unprepared today. I slept in, didn't go to work, still not 100%, and we're doing what we can to still cast the best experience in Ark of Osiris for you all. If you're enjoying the cast, don't forget to drop a like on it, and of course, let your alliance mates, teammates, whoever it is know to come and check out the stream, because they might see something they haven't seen before. So with all this being said, as of right now, r0se is looking like they're going to have a tough time holding on to this building. Their building is going down very quickly. There's a swarm here. There's a full Atelticator rally in here. And holding on to this building is going to be one of the biggest uphill battles. On top of that, there's a skill casted on top of it. And just like that, red building turns blue. And 3 altars are now blue, and now it's a little bit of a trouble for the red team, as that for the first time in this match, blue team take a 100-point per minute lead. They stop the bleeding. And now they're trying to catch up, but they have a big problem. They have a massive problem. Their desert altar is about to go down too, and if it goes down, their lead goes out the window as well. There are marches on the open field here doing something, but they're not doing enough. Red team taking back the desert altar is very, very bad news for the folks in blue, because once more, the red team take a 50-point per minute lead, and once more, they keep growing their lead. Osiris League, not Ark, technical aspect, true. That is true. You're not wrong. It's a very different part of Osiris League compared to Ark of Osiris. Osiris League is played in a very different way. You're not wrong about that. So I do apologize for using that terminology, and we will keep using the name Osiris League because it's a very, very, very different way to play the game. This is the top tier of Ark. These are not your common Arks. You're not going to be seeing these kinds of a high level play in Arks because really, at the end of the day, most teams never get to match with a team that is just like them. Red team also took away the Shrine of Life from the blue team. This is really big trouble for the blue team. Honestly, at this stage, the blue team really need to be able to pick up the middle, which is up in 1 minute and 35, and they know it so that they have a massively big presence compared to the red team right now. And if they take this building, all is good. They can go back into trying to even up things as they go. On top of that, Desert Altar about to close in their favor, a red Desert Altar in terms of for the blue team, and then they can even out the points per minute game. And here's the thing. One of the things about Ark of Osiris that is very important to understand is how important the points per minute game is. With every single minute, the red team gains another 200 points worth of a lead. If you're on the back foot, what you need to do is you need to figure out how to stop the bleeding first and foremost, and then allow time to work in your favor. EvE taking their building back is very important, but because the building did not belong to the red team yet, it did not shift the points per minute game at all. momentarily, once buildings start locking in favor of both teams, we're going to start seeing the shift in the points per minute, as a lot of blue buildings are not ticking for points for them yet. While all this is going down, the blue team, for the first time by the looks of it, are contesting against the Shrine of War that belongs to the red team, and the rally is doing okay. This rally is not doing the worst, but it's not doing the best. If there's no open field presence here, it's going to be a little bit of a tough time. If the red team lose their Shrine of War, it's going to be big, big trouble in the middle. And guess what? 15 seconds until the arc pops up. Red team are starting to pour into the Temple of Osiris, but they might be a little bit late. There's a couple of arc carriers ready to rock and roll and drop the arc on the blue side, and that's 30 seconds worth of a march for free that the folks in blue are going to have as the arc drops on their side. And so red are going to have to walk around the temple, which will give a little bit of extra time for blue to reposition. Arc carrier picks up the arc, and now it's time to get the hell out of dodge as he runs away. The likelihood of him moving far is very low. There goes the arc carrier, and now the massive fight begins. The middle is going to be one of the most important confrontations for the team in blue, that they really need to close this gap down, and the arc is their only way. By the looks of it, the team in red are trying to pick up the arc, but no, blue pick it up first. If you are an Osiris League or an Arc of Osiris player in general, know that you can always know and target the arc carrier by clicking on the arc logo right here. And if you're in the match, it'll automatically select that march for you to be able to target it. So a tip from the get-go, every time you guys need to find the arc carrier in this crowd, all you got to do is click on this and it'll automatically select the march for you. Does anyone live stream MCO? I don't know. I was going to start. I might switch to look at MCO if this match continues the way it is. But by the looks of it, so far, the team in red are doing everything right. And EvE are getting caught off guard left and right. The real issue here is that they're not able to stabilize the points per minute game. Every time they try, it comes back to bite them in the butt in some shape or form. And the ones who have been successfully winning the points per minute game was the red team. Right now, the blue team is in the lead by about 30 points, but it's been such a hard time for them to get here, and they haven't been able to do it enough that unless they take this arc, it's going to be a really, really hard uphill battle for them to get out of this situation. Let's go take a quick peek at this Shrine of War, as now there is a solo march in here hitting the building too. The building is still doing very well against the rally. By the looks of it, it will successfully hold. And that means good news for the red team, who need all those buffs in order to fight in the middle. If you don't know how the Shrine of War works, the Shrine of War gives you 5% attack and defense so long as you occupy the building. So right now, both teams have 5% defense and attack at the same time. But if either team takes both of these, either team will have 10% compared to the 5 of the other team. EvE are in trouble. They are losing march after march, and the swarming here is real. The red team came in a little bit late, but they are targeting the correct marches, and they're getting rid of blue marches one after the other. I'm seeing too many blue frownies and too little red frownies coming out of this. For every 2 to 3 blues, 1 red comes out. And so trouble, trouble, trouble in paradise for the folks in blue. If this arc goes red, oh boy, if this arc goes red. Me and Chisco are streaming the same match. I figured we're streaming the same match. And so I believe Bulba is streaming this same match too. Everybody found this match to be the one to keep an eye on. And I believe Ronnie is casting 1 AVG, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be, it's how it is. Oh, and there it goes. It's how it is during Osiris League. The content creators each do their own thing. And it's a little bit of a shame. We could definitely coordinate and get a little bit of duo casts going on. But I don't know. It just never happens. Each does their own thing, and that's a cool thing too. I'm very much okay with either situation. With that being said, let's go take a quick peek at what is going on in the rest of the matches before we go back into r0se versus EvE. And if this thing goes, and if r0se put the final nail onto EvE, we'll go take a look at the MCO match. Let's take a quick peek at these other matches as they're going down. UCS with a big win so far, 1 AVG holding their ground against TOA. MCO and 495K are in a very close match. GWM doing their thing against OUO, but not that far ahead. C9N doing great work against Titans. r0se and EvE we're about to get back into, and we'll see if things keep going the way they are. We will most likely switch to take a look at MCO and see how they are doing. That's the second match we have our eyes on. With that being said, the arc is once more going to the red side, and the red side once more owns the points per minute lead. And so I will say it once more, just in case someone hasn't heard it yet, and I know some of you might have not heard it yet. I take back what I said yesterday. I do see r0se. I do see a very strong r0se, and I think that that this team is going to be a very, very tough contender, and they're doing a great job against 2 399 teams, which is kind of nuts. It's kind of nuts that they both got the same group. But it's okay. That's how this worked out. That's how the seeds worked out. Look at the blue marches trying to sneak in Nadav from EvE, coming in from the back with a backstab on the arc carrier. But this is too little too late. This arc is almost at the Shrine of War, at the red Shrine of War. To make matters worse, Obelisk was taken by the red team. This is a little bit of a distraction play. So is the Sky Altar down for the red team? And they pretty much own the map with 140 points per minute in their lead. And a 5,100 point lead. Oh boy, EvE are in trouble. EvE are in trouble. Unfortunately, I have not seen anything here that tells me anything about the possibility of EvE coming back into this. If r0se successfully take this arc, this is the second arc, which is a 3,500 point arc, which is a total of 8,600 point lead for r0se. So long as they continue playing the way they are, even grabbing provisions at the very end will not be enough for EvE to come back. Unless the folks in r0se hold on to the arc for a little bit longer, which it seems like they are going to do so, there is a possibility, well, there will be more than likely a possibility for one more arc to pop on the field. There is a slight trick that you can use in here, which essentially means if this March does what it's doing right now, which is go into this provisioning tile, the arc will be dropped, and as soon as they pick up the arc again, the timer will reset. When the timer resets, they'll be able to hold on to the arc for another 15 minutes instead of 11 minutes. They're about to do this mechanic, as you can see right here. The arc was dropped. The timer hasn't reset yet, but the moment r0se pick the arc up once more, you're going to see this timer reset, and they're going to be able to hold on to it for a little bit longer. This is... Oh, nice. Thank the Lord they fixed this. I believe this only happens maybe if you exchange hands, if the blue team takes it and then the red team. I hope they fixed it. Last match, I saw a couple of people going into here and then picking up the arc back. Thankfully, this was fixed. And it looks like 10 minutes more worth of arc holding will mean 14 minutes left for another arc, and there's still hope for EvE. But that hope is very low, very, very low. At 5,000 point lead, it'll be 8,500 point lead for r0se. Let's go take a quick peek and see if this side is provisioning in any shape or form. If we go take a look around the initial zone where we tend to see more provisioners, we do not see any r0se provisioners at all. A lot of these tiles completely clear of gathering whatsoever. So we can expect a low turnout from the folks in red. There is someone provisioning. There's a couple of marches provisioning, so we have a little bit of hope in here for these fellas, and the provisioning score might be working out a little bit. Let's go take a look at the blue team if we see a little bit of provisioners in the back here, and if we don't see them in the back here, we'll go take a look around the obelisk. We'll swap around really quickly to make sure either team are provisioning. By the looks of it, EvE, I don't see, okay, I do see one gatherer here. I don't see that many. I saw more gatherers on the red side than the blue side, which kind of means something, even though the red side wasn't provisioning almost at all. By the looks of it, the red team, the blue team aren't either. There's a few marches provisioning here, but other than that, provisions might not play a role in this match, and if they don't play a role, this is a huge problem for the team in blue. The team in blue picked up the obelisk, and so did the team in red. But at this stage, these obelisks only mean 20 points per minute. They don't mean that much more. Even though the arc is here, this building doesn't really matter. Drew can always go into his own city, and that's it. He doesn't need to have the obelisk in order to drop the arc. On top of that, these 20 points per minute are really insignificant at this stage. The teleports are all here. folks should have all teleported into the field. There's 7 teleports available on the one side and 3 on the other. I see only EvE and 2 people from r0se who haven't teleported onto the field yet, compared to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh man, 9. Oh boy, EvE. Folks have not teleported whatsoever, and yet, wow, okay. Look at Hubert right now. 3-minute worth of a march just to get to wherever he was, and let's go take a look at where he's aiming. It's a 3-minute march just to get to the obelisk. 3 long minutes worth of wasted time, as he did not teleport into the zone of the obelisk. So by the looks of it, as 22 minutes remaining, even though the points per minute game evened out fairly well, and there is a 5,400 point lead for the folks in red, they own 3,500 points in the form of an Ark of Osiris, which, where the hell is it? It says that it's here. Okay, well, it's here. Okay, it's not there. The Ark is chilling in here. That's 3,500 points in the bank for the folks in red. And so with all of this being said, we're going to go take a quick peek at the other match going on between MCO and 495K. I do think this match still has a potential for a small comeback, but the folks in blue don't have a lot of time. They need to start taking over buildings, and they continually keep losing buildings, overtaking them and holding on to them. Unfortunately, the way back for the team in blue is a long journey ahead, and they have a possibility to do so. But it's time for us to go take a quick peek at the other match happening in the background, and go take a look at the rest of the match's scores very briefly. Let's go take a look as the folks in UCS fairly secured a win. 1AVG seemed to be fairly ahead, potential securing their win as well. 495 taking a big lead. This is not the close match that it was before. C9N doing their thing against Titans. It looks like they've secured their victory too, and so has JWM by the looks of it as of right now. It does look like EvE versus r0se is the match to be watching. We'll go take a peek at this match regardless to see what it looks like. By the looks of it, the Ark is about to pop. We need to be able to zoom out. For that, we got to move a little bit because the action is freezing us in. And now, as there is a huge brawl going on here, I see a lot of red and fairly little blues. Very, very big problem for the folks in blue, but they are indeed equal in the points per minute game. At this point, one of these outposts was taken away for the blue team, so the blue team are 30 points per minute in the lead, which is a good thing. It doesn't look like the blue team had the presence early on in here, but with 50 seconds, a lot of MCO marches are marching their way towards the middle. There's still plenty of time for them to get here and start fighting the folks in red. The Ark pops in 45 seconds. This is the third Ark, a 4,000 point Ark, which means they'll be able to close the gap down from about 8,000 points to 4,000 points. We do not know what's going on in terms of provisioning on this map, but 4,000 points is a dangerous number to be at. 495K want to be a little bit ahead. 495K definitely want to be a little bit ahead in this scenario, but MCO can definitely still make a comeback into this. Red team is not out of the woods just yet, and so for the record isn't r0se and EvE. But we're going to probably switch around to see how these matches are progressing. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that a match was very close 2 minutes ago compared to another match we were watching doesn't mean it'll stay very close or it'll stay that interesting. There's a potential that EvE will come back in the next 10 minutes and we will completely miss that comeback as we want to switch for a better match. This is why I usually don't do middle match switches unless it's like a one-sided affair, because you truly don't know what's going to happen. An 8,000 point lead for 495K at 18 minutes remaining is very, very strong. And they now control the Ark, which is very important. They must deliver this Ark. If they deliver this Ark, it's pretty much game over. And then from there, we're going to have to see who else shows up to the plate. By the looks of it, most of these matches are fairly one-sided. But I definitely need to say we watched a great match between EvE and r0se early on. Boy, I honestly, I'm super impressed with what I've been seeing so far. MCO and 495K. I bet on MCO. They had the lower odds, and I felt like 495K might be they are a strong team. I did hear a lot about them this season. I heard about 2 teams that I hadn't heard before, one of them being them. But I thought that MCO was a little more organized, and I thought it was a little bit unfair that a fairly underknown team can out pressure a team that has so many veterans in it that have the experience. But 495, give them credit where credit is due. They're fighting to the nails and back, and these guys are just killing it. They are killing it against a team that has players in it that are Osiris Invitational participants. They are people who have been playing Osiris League for multiple seasons and have a lot of experience. So massive credit goes to 495 for building a strong team and potentially being a top 16 contender right here, ladies and gentlemen. Hope to watch some of the 15 matches. We will definitely be casting some of the 15 matches, although I do gotta say this has been taking my breath a little bit, and with our a little bit of a health situation, we got to take it a little bit easier. That match was so exciting early on that I kind of lost myself in the process of it. But hey, we're gonna recover, drink some juice, and eat something nice, and get ourselves back in shape for the 15 UTC match. And we'll most likely not cast the 19 UTC match because, quite frankly, everyone and their grandma is gonna be casting it. And I mean, I'd love to potentially, I might go hop on someone's stream and duo cast it with them, but I don't see a reason for the whole YouTube community to be streaming the same match, right? It's just crazy. Arc going in favor of the red team is the final nail in the coffin for the team in blue, who are right now owning the points per minute game. Can we see JWM? The JWM match is done. There's nothing for you to see there, really. Their match has been fairly done for a little bit, although what does need to be said about JWM is that they're allowing some of these teams to make more points than in the past. And even though JWM might make it to the top 16, they might not be the top dog that they were back in the day. That comes with an obvious situation where a lot of the team has changed. The team is under new leadership. The team has new players. The team has new leaders. The team has new everything. The team went pretty much from 100 to like 40% and then back up to 100. This is why also JWM2 is not a thing anymore. There was a need to get the players together in the one team to build the better possible team for this season as we gear up for the next season to rebuild a secondary team. It happens in every kingdom occasionally, you know, a group of players leave, some key roles within a team change, and now there's a phase of rebuilding. Still, JWM a very, very strong contender for a top 16 placement and even more than that, but they're definitely not the team that they were before, and anyone can see it, right? And that's not a bad thing. Evolving, changing, it's part of the game, right? The red team have taken the Arc of Osiris to no extent. They pretty much have it secured, and they also have a 7,400 point lead secure as well. So with that 7,400 point lead and another 4,000 points from the Arc, I'm fairly confident the folks in red are gonna close this match out in a very, very, very strong way. They are down 30 points per minute in the points per minute game, but that's really not a big deal when you're 10,000 points plus ahead. There's a slight effort by this guy right here to kill the Arc Carrier, and as an Arc Carrier, I would have turned around right here and let him kill me. If he picks up the Arc, the timer resets, and if the timer resets with the Arc down here, it's an easy peasy, squeezy situation to grab the Arc again and hold on to it until the end of the match. They can already do this with 11 minutes remaining on the Arc. Even if they deliver it in 10 minutes, there won't be enough time for one more Arc. You need a total of, I believe, 9.5 minutes to be able to get an Arc from being delivered all the way to delivering it to your own side if there's no fighting. If there's no fighting whatsoever, it'll take about 9.5 minutes for the Arc to pop and then for the Arc to make it all the way. So at this point, the Arc Carrier drops. These guys should have allowed this guy to pick up the Arc, but it's okay. The Arc of Osiris fully escorted. Okay, so it didn't drop. They escorted it. That's my mistake. 1,100 points, 1,150 points per minute lead, and it's now a 30 points per minute lead in their favor. I believe we can call it GG on this match right here. Let's go look really quickly if r0se managed to lock down their match as well. We're going to go take a peek at that match too, and then go look at how the rest of these matches are going. Hey, Keem, what's up? So UCS 100% securing a win against the folks in 96. 1 AVG more than likely secured a win against the folks of TOA. The folks in 495K secured a victory against MCO. JWM secured a victory against OUO. C9N secured their victory against Titans. And by the looks of it, r0se secured their victory over EvE. And it's not only by the looks of it, they are very much holding down. I mean, look at the points per minute game. 380 points per minute in the lead for the folks in red. This is the time when I'm going to take a look more at the chat. If you guys have any comments, questions, any feedback, anything you guys want, please let me know. I'm always down to answer questions regarding Ark of Osiris. Can you show your bets list wherever you have time? Yes, at the end of the match, we'll go take a look at them, Adam. I think I messed up all my bets. But again, when I bet today, this time around, I said I don't like the matches. I bet just to bet. If I could skip the bets, I would have probably skipped them. But because you guys kind of looking for bets advice and things like that, I kind of just like, listen, I'm not a big fan of what's going on in here. I'm just gonna skip bets if I could. I'm hoping to get a total of 10,000 coins today. That's awesome, Adam. That's awesome. I definitely didn't give r0se enough credit. I'll tell you that much. I definitely didn't give 495K enough credit. I'll tell you that much. Those are the two teams that I did not give enough credit to. And the reason I didn't give enough credit to is because r0se made a very, very fundamental mistake last match. And that fundamental mistake was a big red flag for me. But it looks like it wasn't a red flag. It wasn't a mistake by them, but it was a very well played play by BBTH. Are you streaming the 13 UTC matches? I will be streaming the 15 UTC matches. Correct, Mode. I'll be back. I'll take an hour break, revitalize my energies, and come back for one more. Thank you for the live stream, Gecko. I appreciate you, Ronald. I mean, we're still sticking around, chilling, looking at a couple of these things. Do you think it's a good tactic to port the opponent's obelisk to cause chaos if they manage to secure it? No, Frankie, I don't think that's a good idea. More often than not, your 5 marches are more important to your strategy than taking an obelisk. No strategy has like, okay, if we take the obelisk, we port, and then we do this, right? So when you take an obelisk, and even if you secure it, it's a nice thing, but once you have a strategy, you need to stick with it. One of the things, as someone who, I don't know, Frankie, how much you've played Ark or Osiris League for that matter, but majority of Osiris League teams have a laid out plan almost minute to minute. They have perfect timings and they have all that stuff already secured. So even if you take an obelisk, you would much rather follow the plan and the strategy than make alternations in the middle. For the record, the alternations in the middle of a match are the most important aspects of a team. 99% of teams, and I'm saying this with absolute confidence, once their strategy is countered very badly, cannot come back into a match. 99% of teams have no capability of thinking on their feet and coming up with like a contingency plan. Most teams never had to have a contingency plan. And so a lot of times, something like that red flag that I saw was the fact that we're looking, the next tier of Osiris League players and teams will be not only the ones that have a sound strategy that is their main strategy, but will also have situational strategies for different scenarios. For example, what happens if we lose an altar very early on? What happens if we lose a Shrine of War middle fight? These are scenarios where a team that wants to go up another notch to that next level is going to have to be able to have that playbook available. Right now, the playbook is only this is what we do and not how do we counter certain scenarios. It hasn't happened yet. You think it's possible to make a strategy around burning cities on Ark? And I definitely don't think that's a wise move. Burning cities, all it does is essentially potentially cripple a player from sending 5 marches, but the time it'll take you and the effort it'll take you to burn them down to get zeroed will hurt you more than it'll hurt them. It's kind of like when you burn a city, you're going up against all the troops in that city. And so what you're asking is if there is a strategy around solo hitting with 1 march, a desert altar that is full. If you see the connection between the two, you don't want to have even a rally going up against 6, 7, 8 million troops in a city, because the amount of troops you will lose trying to zero that city and the amount of effort you'll put into that will not be worth your effort. And 90% of the teams playing in Osiris League, at least, You can hit their city while they have 5 marches out, and they will not give a rat's. They will not give a rat's. So it's usually not a good idea. Burning cities is what you do when the match is over and all you're looking for is to have some fun. That's where when you start burning cities. Strategies for burning cities never pay off. One of the things you can do, for example, is you can utilize your advantage once you're very much in the lead to try to cause extra chaos to the other team, essentially. Thanks for the insight, Gecko. So far, HKL's tactic looks unbeatable, and gonna take insane tactic and teamwork to beat them. It's not unbeatable, Frankie. All you gotta understand is you gotta understand their timings. Their timings are very, very, very particular, and you have to understand that winning against a team like HKL is the same as winning against a team against GWM or OV. And the number one thing that you need to understand is that when you walk into the field playing against these players, is that it all starts here. When they take your Sky Altar early on and your team in their head are like, oh no, here we go again, it ended. At that point, it ended entirely. Teams like JWM, OV, 411K, HKL are teams that have such a big reputation in our Osiris League that even dropping on the field with them is very intimidating. And that intimidation is one of their strongest firepower. And I've seen it happen. I've seen the best players crumble mentally 15 minutes into a match, and that was it, right? Once your mentality is there, that's something that mechanics cannot explain. You have to be on the field. You have to be in a team. You have to hear your lane leaders all talking over each other. You have to feel that pressure. That's something that Osiris League Season 2 taught me when we were on our back foot. I mean, the teams went nuts. MCO is using speed caravan visit skill. First time seeing this. JWM did it last season, Mikhail. This season I have seen it in another match. I don't remember which one it was. But yeah, some folks are giving a lot of credit to provisioning, and as they should. r0se are really taking over the map at this point. It's kind of like a GG at this stage. Looks like timing is important. I heard some alliances practice matches with stopwatches. Frankie, we interviewed HKL last season, the leadership of HKL, and they told us they required all their players to have timers, physical timers that they all used. They all had their timers set. And their leadership says, click the timer, 2 minutes, go here. At 6 minutes, you go here. At 7 minutes, you go here. They say 3, 2, 1, click, and they know each timing what it is. And it gets to the point where I know a player that has a sheet yay long of minute by minute where he needs to be that he puts under his timer so he knows where he needs to go. It's kind of nuts. It really, really is. But again, what happens when at the 50th minute you're supposed to be at the desert altar, but you're not at the desert altar because you lost it, right? That's when things go crazy. Any Herald rallies? I haven't seen rallies. I've seen open field marches. I've seen solo marches on the field. Chat, if you enjoyed this cast, the insight, don't forget to drop, of course, a like on this stream. There's about 150, 180 of you still remaining and about only 50 likes on the stream. What is it? We can get to 100 before the end of the cast, right? 4 minutes in. Let's do this. Here, it's understanding the mechanics is relatively simple. If you watch enough ARC, you'll understand the mechanics. And if you watch enough ARC, you'll understand where mechanically people are making mistakes. But the question is not where they're making mistakes, but why are they making the mistakes? The mistake being made is clear. It's absolutely clear that a mistake is being made. But the real question is, why are they making the mistake? And that's the key to understanding a match. And you will never understand a match without the why without being there. When teams rely so heavily on timing, what do you recommend to throw them off? You need to learn their timings, and you need to figure out where their weaknesses are in terms of timings. So let me give you an example. If you know that a team in their first 10 minutes the blue team in their first 5 minutes are heavily aggressive on the red side, you can decide that you give up your own side but go take theirs. For example, this is something about HKL that I've said for a very long time. The moment a team realizes that they don't need to hold on to their own sides of the buildings if they take the other side, is a completely different story. You can lose your own desert altar so long as you take your enemy's desert altar. That's what r0se literally did. That's what EvE literally did. EvE managed to hold on again and again for the first like 15 minutes of the match by simply countering the actions of r0se. That's how you do it. The problem is who cracks first, because they went back and forth on their desert altars, as you can recall from this stream. Scroll back if you just joined us. They went back and forth, but the first one to not manage to catch it again was the team in blue. And all of a sudden, both buildings were now red. And blue took a little bit too long to get it back. And now it went a little bit like that, and then boom, red took it again. And a little bit back and forth, and then boom, red took it again. So it's a back and forth continually. You need to understand the timing of your opposition with a lot of research and footage in order to be able to do these kinds of plays. And I can tell you something, r0se have been watching a lot of HKL tape. r0se have been watching a lot of HKL tape. I saw Zenobia and JWM match animation kind of good. Irish, we can unlock Zenobia right after this cast and really quickly look at the animation if you would like. I have her, I have not unlocked her yet. I got 20 sculptures yesterday of Zenobia, so that's nice. We ended up 9th place. I haven't had an opportunity to unlock her yet, but I'd be down to do it and look at the animation really quickly before we go. This match is of course fairly over. Do me a favor, chat. We're an awesome Rise of Kingdoms community, right? We're not about that hate life. Let's get a spam of GGs. Each one of you, even my lurkers out there, take a moment really quickly to hit that chat and let's get that GG up in the air for both teams for a very, very good match. Massive congrats to r0se for winning this match and staying in Osiris League, potentially making it to the top 16. If you're a member in the channel, you have the GG emote. And while you're at it, don't forget to drop a like. Let's look at what else you guys have to say. It will be interesting to see how Herald and Zenobia perform in the coming weeks of Osiris League. I definitely agree. I 100% agree. Wish my ARC team was even 1% as good as some of these teams. Beautiful seeing these teams. Adam, slowly and steadily, my man. Not everybody was born this way. Nobody was born this way. Get yourself 30 players that want to get to that next level and work your way through. One of the things that so a content creator that I really like that's been coming up lately is Bulburitos. He's also casting this match and he's been doing a lot of work into ARC. One of the things he mentioned in one of his streams is that he didn't make it into, he's part of 561. He didn't make it into the Na'Vi team, and as a result, he would rather not play at all. I think that's a mentality that is a bit wrong to an extent. You can always take the initiative and find 30 like-minded players that are willing to put in the work and have the commanders and go at it. JWM2 last season did not have 4 Attila Takeda rallies when it was that crucial. Last season, we had 2 Attila Takeda rallies. We didn't have Rosetians almost at all. We were garrisoning with Richard Julius Caesar. Our ingenuity is what got us where it got us, and it is very doable. OV game will be very close. Ooh, we'll go take a peek. GG's to the folks in r0se for a massive, massive win. Let's go look at the scoreboard and see what we can find. A lot of heals from the folks in EvE, but very unsuccessful situation. Their points per minute in terms of provisioning is not very good. Both teams need to get a little bit of work on their provisioning, but the clear win goes to r0se that won all 3 categories. A massive win on occupation, a massive win on arcs, and a slight win on provisioning. The kills went in the favor of EvE, which doesn't surprise me. They do have stronger firepower in terms of commanders. However, kills don't matter in this game mode. What matters are points per minute. And while r0se lost 2 million troops more in the process, they healed 4 million troops less and won the match. So major GGs for the folks in r0se. And there's a lot to talk about EvE's issues, but we'll leave that there. Let's go take a quick peek at how the rest of the matches ended before we go. And we can unlock Zenobia really quickly as well. So let's see. As expected, UCS taking a victory over 96. 1AVG taking a good victory against TOA. I love it. Shout out to the folks of 1AVG, 307 crew, Mad Phantom and company. I love seeing them going out into the top 16 potentially. And man, I'm going to be very excited. They have one more match to go to make it out to the playoffs. I'll be very happy to see the friends of 307 make it out there. And they had a solid victory. It looks like 495K with a decently 9,000 point difference. That's a fairly solid victory as well for them over MCO. JWM with a very good solid win against JWM with a very solid win against OUO. C9N taking out Titans in a very, very, very big fashion. And so did r0se against EvE. The closest match of them all being, which one was it? It was the 495 against MCO match, about 9,000 point differential. Now let's go take a quick peek at the matches that we have coming up at 3 p.m. OV against the SFS match, PTOL against 411S, 49F against LIIG, HKL against TN, the squad against SX54, and r0se against TZA, Navi against BBTH, MTO against SNO, and TTF against 411K. We might have to take a look at some of these players we have not seen yet. I'm most likely aiming at looking at r0se versus TZA early on, and potentially we go back to look at other matches. I have my eye on LIIG against 49F. I have my eye on OV's match as well. And I think that PTOL are going to have a very easy time against 411S. And so there's going to be 3 interesting matches here, but we will most likely start with TZA against r0se and move on from there. Before we do that, though, let's go look at my mail, as if we click in here and here. Did I click it already? Did I not get? I may have. Haha, I did. There's Zenobia. What's up, Zenobia? 20 sculptures right there. Bam! There she is, unlocking Zenobia really quickly at the end of this stream. And giving her a clickety-clack in a second. But let's not waste a moment. I want to see. Of course, we're going to. Like, easy, boys. Easy. So I'll take a quick peek at a level 1 Zenobia. Not a cool thing, a level 1 Zenobia. Let's not be mean to Zenobia, okay? Let's not be that mean. We'll give her like a friend here to be with her. And our level 1 little Zenobia, or is she right here? And let's give it a little bit like 100K. Let's go look at what happens against a level 24. Huzzah! Hey, Alice, how's it going? You're purple too. I think you're the only you, Brawny, and Howley are the 3 purple members in this channel so far. All right, let's go look at Zenobia's animation very quickly. I have not seen it yet. All right, let's do this. Whoa. Oh, that's cool. It's whatchamacallit, that's an instrument. It's like there's this instrument, right? That you it's like 2 thingies. That's an instrument, isn't it? That's dope. It looks like an instrument. That is sick. And that circle is huge. That circle is huge. Oh my goodness. That's looking nice. That is looking really nice. I like it. That looks like an instrument, but it could also be like kind of like a Middle Eastern. It looks like a Middle Eastern instrument of some sort. Maybe like something for sugar, for tea, maybe. I don't know. It looks weird. That AoE is massive. Oh yeah, that is stupendously crazy. Stupendously crazy. But where is she? Where is she really quickly? Hello. Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. It wouldn't be AoE, right? It would be the healing factor right here. So extra health and extra bonuses and whatnot. Not AoE per se, but still massive, 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 massive circle. Let's go join back into JWM. Chat, thank you very much for chilling in this cast. We'll be back in a few 40 minutes or so. I'm gonna go take a quick break, eat something, regain my energy, revitalize, and come back for another Ark of Osiris League match. Appreciate every single one of you who chose us today, as long as there are tons of people casting this match. I'll see you all in a few, and let your alliance mates know, teammates, whatever the heck not. Gecko Gaming is here casting these matches. I'm here to answer your questions so long as we have that ability in terms of time. And I'd always be down to help any team in any strategy, in any shape or form. ask questions as we wrap up the match, and I'll do my best to be part of answering it. Isn't that the thing that priests use to release smoke? Man, the thing that's like, maybe. Maybe. I have no clue. It could be. Is it, you're saying it's this? It makes sense. Is it the thing that releases smoke? Could be that. This? That makes sense. That makes sense. It looked like there's like an instrument that's very similar to that, and it looked like a tea thing. But you're right. It's a smoke thing. It's the precious smoke coming out of this. This is the holy smoke, chat. Smell the holy smoke. That's not the kind of holy smoke. But anyway, chat, I'll see you all in the next cast. Have a good one. Peace.